Ready? Start. I have great pleasure in welcoming you to this inaugural meeting of the National Commission of UNESCO. This is in some ways a memorable occasion, for the constitution of the National Commission gives concrete shape to our efforts for international cooperation in the fields of education, science and culture. It would therefore perhaps be appropriate if I should describe in some detail aims and objectives of UNESCO and the manner in which it has attempted to carry out its purposes. After the experience of 2 world wars within the course of a barely 25 years, thinking men and women all over the world realize as never before that there must be a change in the outlook of man to avert the calamity of a future disaster. It was out of this universal desire to find an instrument for the settlement of disputes without resort to war that there arose the United Nations with renewed hope for afflicted humanity. All conflicts have their ultimate origin in the mind of man, and it was felt that unless the causes of fear, suspicion, distress and jealousy could be eradicated from human minds, no efforts by politicians and statesmen could remove the possibility of future wars. At the time of the preliminary discussions for setting up a United Nations organization, it was therefore decided that there should also be an organization for promoting closer collaboration among different peoples of the world in the fields of education, science and culture. Accordingly, UNESCO was set up to achieve these ends. At the time of the constitution of UNESCO, it was realized that cooperation and understanding among nations could be built only if there was cooperation and understanding among the different elements within the nation itself. If within a nation itself there were divergent elements whose differing points of view had not been fully coordinated, such a nation could hardly serve as a harmonious unit in the international setting. Experience showed that there was not only large ignorance about different nations, but in many cases members of the same nation were ignorant of one another's attitude, beliefs, customs and faith. This was an experience which was almost universal except in the future of a very few small and homogeneous nations. Further, it was felt that closer cooperation between different elements in our national life would lead to a promotion of activities in all other fields also. The Constitution of UNESCO provides that only states can be members. This guarantees that there will be no possibility of adding to international complications through its activities. There is, however, another aspect of the question which cannot be ignored. The nature of education, science and culture is such that their cause can be served better by private and voluntary agencies. This is the reason why UNESCO Constitution insists that there should be voluntary bodies or national commissions to perform its functions in the national fields. Unfortunately, the experience of the last 3 years has not been fully justified the hopes which were raised by the establishment of the United Nations organization. In spite of the initial agreement with which it started, it has today become the arena for struggles between rival blocs. It is true that the struggle is yet only a cold war. This is, however, little consolation to those who seek peace on an enduring basis. It is tragic that even today nations have not given up the old attitudes which so often led to war. The one say of hope offered in this gloomy picture today is the manner in which UNESCO, an allied organization of the United Nations, has been attempting to establish better relations among human beings in the field of education, science and culture. It is obvious that in the realm of material clash of interests, compromise is difficult, while in the fields of the creative spirit, cooperation and compromise are not only possible but are the natural law. The division of material wealth leads to a diminution in its quantity, while the distribution of spiritual wealth leads to mutual enrichment. UNESCO has also rightly recognized that all conflicts, even in the material field, have their ultimate origin in the mind of man. It was therefore felt that unless the causes of fear, suspicion, distrust and jealousy could be eradicated from the human mind, no efforts by the politicians and statesmen alone could remove the possibility of future conflicts. This is the justification of UNESCO, as well as the reason why it has become a rallying ground for the faith and hope of all who want to avert the disaster of a third world war. In its brief life of 3 years, UNESCO has already made considerable progress towards the achievement of its objects. The very fact of associating together a large number of people of different nations with marked differences in language, background, social habits and outlook is a considerable achievement. The obligation under the Constitution of holding the General Conference in a different country each year has added to its burdens. Now, stop.